got a 72-pound pit bull, and sometimes he'll come in here and lay down beside the desk here while I'm on the net, but he's too busy playing in the snow right now.
Yeah, this one doesn't appear to like the snow very much. She ran out this morning and she did her thing in the backyard and came running back inside and jumped on her bed. But, yeah, good dog. She has been no problem whatsoever. She's not going to like going back. My niece and her family coming back tonight. And, yeah, poor dog is locked up in the laundry room and garage most all the day while everyone's at work or school. So she doesn't get much attention. So she's really been spoiled this week. Get the trail behind me out to the lake, so we go out the backyard and go out for a long walk every day, and company around. But yeah, knock on wood, she hasn't chewed on any radios or cables.
Oh, that's a good thing. Luckily, Manny, he's not a chewer like that. He likes to chew on his stuffed animals. But you know, he's pretty well potty trained in the house and all. I mean, we've been gone sometimes for as long as 6 hours and came back and he hadn't gone to the bathroom. So he's a pretty smart dog. You know, I love those pit bulls. They're such a great dog, and they get such a bad rap. And you know, it's because of the way people train them. Sometimes not good. But, you know, if they're handled right, they're as lovable as any other dog out there, you know, and they're good-looking dogs, too. NU6F, K0, DWC.
Leave a little pause there in case Kevin found his on-off switch again. But, yeah, they got her as a puppy, and, of course, she got all of her attention when she was a puppy, and yeah, no, not so much. I'm a couple years older. Yeah, you know, I used to have, when I was up there by Gold Run all those years, I had off and on a couple of neighbors that were tweakers, and along with the meth, they always seemed to want to get a pit bull. I never could figure it out. The dogs would wander around loose. They'd come over to my place and come walking across the pasture, and same thing, just as friendly as could be. But, yeah, so much for the image. Well, I was hoping to get a little more progress on my big transmitting loop antenna. Larry came over yesterday, and we got it mounted in the wooden frame. I have to rig up 2 little hand winches to crank the sucker up. But, yeah, I think maybe this week will be the maiden voyage of the 10-foot diameter loop. But, yeah, I think they said that this is just going to be the last little spurt, maybe another one Wednesday. So hopefully it'll clear up. All right. I guess we'll stand by for the real rest of the net. K0 DWC and U6F.
WA6 Juliet Kilowatt November. Good morning.
Where'd you go?
Oh, I was off frequency. I guess I wasn't off far enough when I was tuning in.
Okay. Oh, you're coming in gangbusters here, Kevin, so no problem here in Dayton this morning. We got about a dusting of snow this morning from last night, but other than that, everything's good here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chuck. Good morning to one and all. Just waiting for the coffee pot to finish brewing, and matter of fact, I'm gonna go down and check on it now and get my first cup of coffee. WA6 Juliet Kilowatt November on the KW Sugar 1.
Yeah, okay, Kevin. Yeah, take your time. You know, the net's still 10 minutes away, so I might go ahead and get a second cup myself. here at DWC standing by with NU6F and N6BCT in there as well.
Well, Chuck, good morning, and I'll let you get your second cup of coffee, W7NS.
Oh boy, you sound like you're on something interesting there, pal. I'm going to go get another cup of coffee and then come back and ask what it is. I can't wait. I'll be right back.
Well, all we can tell is that's a radio with carbon.
Well, that's true. It is officially carbonated, Ron, and enjoyed your text with all the pictures. It looks like you're trying to do moon bounce.
Yeah, it did tune up out in the garage on sawhorses, and the reverse beacon network showed it up a few places in the U.S. and Canada. So I think, once it's up in a vertical position, it may do okay. But I was kind of surprised to see the snow. I thought this was going to be the last of it. But I guess the best way to tell what the weather's going to be is look at the stripes on the road. So yes, definitely a carbonated radio. No Nippon Denso Bofang microphone hooked up to that one.
Well, I don't know if that's a compliment or, but I'll take it as one. But, this is the third morning of snow here. I guess, about a half an inch to an inch. And, of course, with warming Earth, it's not as dramatic. But 3 mornings in a row, I peeked out the shades, and as I said Friday night on the radio, let out an expletive. My gosh, time to check myself into the mental ward, I believe.
Yeah, cabin fever. And for hams, that's a bad deal because cabin fever means way too much time on the radio or on the bench. All right. No, it sounded good. It's just, it sounds like a real radio, as Tom would say.
Okay, well, I appreciate the clarification. This is definitely not appropriate for 3870, but quite appropriate for 3974. And the irony was, Thursday, I was out in the backyard in the hours of darkness, and I could hear frogs croaking. I think they were a little premature in their excitement.
Yeah, spring has sprung. Well, I guess Puxatawny Phil was right. In fact, they may want to add a couple more weeks of winter.
Well, you know what? When I watch videos from Siberia on YouTube, I think actually they're in a warming trend, and of course people will obviously tell me, well, they're on the steppes of Russia. It may be colder than heck, but they don't get a lot of precipitation. But that still doesn't make me feel better.
Yeah, it's like Reno. Oh yeah, it's a heat, but it's a dry heat. Oh yeah, it's snow, but it's a dry snow. Well, good deal. I don't know if you read the mail, but my interference is gone this morning. I've been keeping a daily log, and it's on almost every day. But the hours, I can't really nail down to anything. So, go figure. But it's nice not having it in there because, I can hear the broadcast station. I can hear Bill loud and clear. It's a wonderful thing.
It must be harvest time. Well, absolutely, harvest time. And what was really strange, Ron, I was really surprised last Sunday when I had the amp off, and you couldn't hear me with 10 watts ground wave and your noise problems from that. Well, I'm glad that's resolved. And this is my first official announcement because I do believe in jinxes, but that sodium light has to have been repaired because I've been noise-free in the evenings for 2 weeks. which is great. So go ahead. I believe that may have been Dave, but I'm going to go get my second cup of coffee, W7MS, but the audio's up, so I will be listening.
Okay, good deal, Mike. Yeah, well, I'm sure the noise will come back, but at least this morning it was clear. Okay, standing by, NU 6F, JKN, DWC.
Good morning, Chuck. That was I. How's everybody doing this morning?
And add Dave to the mix.
Get a few things set up, and WA7YBS, net control for the Vintage Military Radio Net. And since we got so many people in here in the pre-net warm-up, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Well, anyway, this is Vintage Military Radio Net, Roundtable AM Group, allows licensed hams to operate their radio equipment, vintage military radio equipment, on the air. And so there you go. And everybody knows the drill. We assign numbers, eases the handoffs, makes it easier for net control to keep track of things. And so I will read the list in the order that I've heard everybody. Number 1 spot's Chuck K0 DWC. Number 2 spot is Kevin WA6JKN. Number 3 is Ron NU6F. Number 4 is Bill N6BCT. Number 5 is Mike W7MS. Number 6 is Dave W6MQI. So is there anybody else that wants to check in and be number 7? If you do, check in now.
Whiskey 6 Alpha Whiskey Oscar.
WA6 OPE.
W6 SSP.
And good morning from W1NZR.
Okay. Good morning to all. Number 7 is Richard W6AW. And good morning to you. Number 8 is WA6OPE. Tom in Richmond. Good morning, Tom. And the number 9 spot is Steve, W6SSP. Good morning, Steve. And the number 10 spot is Brown, W1NZR. Good morning, Brown. From Dixon. So, let me run down the list. And one more time before we get started. And in the number 1 spot's Chuck. Good morning, Chuck, K0DWC. And the number 2 spot's Kevin, WA6JKN. Good morning, Kevin. Number 3 spot is Ron, NU6F. Good morning, Ron. Number 4 spot's Bill, N6BCT. Good morning, Bill. Number 5 spot's Mike, W7MS. Good morning, Mike. Number 6 is Dave, W6MQI. Good morning, Dave. Number 7 spot's Richard, W6AWO. Good morning, Richard. Number 8 is Tom, WA6OPE. Good morning, Tom. Number 9 is Steve, W6SSP. And number 10 is Brown, W1NZR. So with that, this is WA7YBS, Henry and Dayton, running a Collins 32V3, 10 watts of carrier power to 2 half waves in phase, collinear array, on 75 meters at least anyway. And so that's the transmitter side of things. The receivers are military connection, which is to the Royal Army, and that's the RA-17L. So with that, let's get started. Over to Chuck, K0GWC, WA7YBS.
Okay, Henry. Well, good morning to you, sir, and good morning to everyone. A stellar lineup this morning, an all-star team for sure. Good morning to Kevin, Ron, Bill, Mike, Dave, Richard, Tom, Steve, and Brown. good to hear you back up here, Brian. I know you're a busy man, but it's always a treat when you check in when you can. So appreciate you guys being there, and thanks for all the support from everybody. This is K0DWC, and I'll let Henry give the weather report. Only thing I can tell you is we got a little bit of a dusting over here, but I don't know the temperature or anything. I'm sure Henry does, but anyway, we're running Carla's ART-13 this morning, the W4DBQ ART-13 with the T32 mic with the Electret module, and running the R45 ARR7 receiver by Belmont Radio, and listening on an LS3 speaker, 200 watts inverted V, and that's the story here. Everybody is coming in fine. Bill is Q5 copy, no problem. Conditions seem to be very good this morning so far. So let's cross our fingers and hope it lasts the rest of the next. So anyway, we'll keep it going, and we will send it over to Kevin, WA6JKN, in the group. This is K0DWC. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chuck. I forgot to fire up the modulation monitor here. Let's see here. Hello, radio. There we go. Okay, good morning to one and all. This is Kevin in Gilroy. I'm on the KW Sugar 1. As Mike taught me a month or so ago, I'm on the military sideband, the correct sideband for military. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'll never forget that. I said, oh, of course. I remember, who was it, Dave or somebody was on a military rig, and he was on the opposite sideband, and he couldn't hear me because I was on the wrong sideband. So there you go. All right, I got the dog barking in the background. He's up bright and early, want to go out and play, so I better go open up the back door. So let's keep it moving here. The receiver's a 75A4, of course, married up with the KW Sierra 1, as Henry would say. So let's see, who do I turn it over to? That's the question. I may have forgotten, Henry. My apologies. I think it might be Mike, W7MF. So let's give that a try and see what happens. WA6JKN.
Yeah, well, that won't work. It goes to Ron, NU6F. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, but Kevin got the right city. He knew it went back to Reno. So, Lemon Valley or Golden Valley? Lemon Valley. Okay, well, great copy on all. Like I said, not fighting the QRN, so I love it. Running the TDE3 Farnsworth Television 1944 contract and the RCA 1939 contract, RAL5 receiver, and the 160-foot long wire. And life is good in radio world. Yeah, I don't know. I got much more snow than I expected. It's more like it's at least 2 inches. By looking out the shack here at the fence posts and around. So I'm not sure when it stopped. I saw last night around 10 p.m. it was still going. I didn't think it stopped sometime around then. All right, but with that, I'll pass it over to Half Moon Bay where it never snows. N6BCT and U6F.
This is N6 Bravo Charlie Tango. Good morning, all. I'm having fun with the radio here. I'm listening to the SDR receiver right now, and it's got some audio needed so I can here myself. So it's over to the new stuff there. I'm going to go to W7MS.
Okay, well, I think it's over to me. Is that correct, Henry?
Yep, that's correct.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Henry. And thank you for running the show this morning. This is W7MS, Mike in Reno. Good morning to all. Nice turnout here. Of course, Henry, Chuck, Kevin on upper sideband, Ron, Bill, Dave, Richard, Tom, Steve, and Brown. So, got some big hitters here this morning. But to the rundown, and then we'll do the handoff, running the Canadian stuff, the Canuck radios, the Royal Canadian Air Force AR-6 receiver, manufactured by RCA Victor Company Limited, 1942, serial number 1944, and the AT-7, manufactured by Canadian Marconi, 1944, and 6992 for the serial number, and that's driving a Alpha 87 AC amplifier to about 220 watts a carrier. I did do some tweaking on the loading on this transmitter, trying to perk up the audio quality. It made a slight difference, so instead of running a few extra watts, about 5 watts, we're down to about 5 watts a carrier to drive the amp, and that seems to be sweet spot, or at least less sour. It may not be sweet, but it's less sour, I think, on the taste test. So, over to Dave. Good morning, Dave. W6MQI, W7MS.
All right, Mike. I think you got a little extra seltzer in there, too. Sounds pretty good. This is W6MQI. And everybody sounded pretty good this morning, except for Bill. Sounded like he was in an echo chamber there. But, we're on the ART-13 this morning. We'll stand by. And listening on the 75A4 receiver with a A104 microphone to a dipole. I don't know how much longer it's going to be hanging. My antennas are taking a beating with this wind. I've got a 5-element 6-meter beam at the top of at 55 feet, and it's not looking too good. The feed line's hanging down from it. Won't be long before it turns off of that. So I think I got some antenna work ahead of me. But anyway, I guess I'll keep it moving. And let's see who's next here. Richard, W680 AWO, W6MQI.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, everyone. W6MQI, W6AWO, high atop Inverness Ridge, and running the usual prosaic Johnson Viking 2, HRO 60, and of course, a D104 microphone. Hey, there is a military connection, the BC-1031 Charlie panadapter. So, there you go, and dipole antenna. Good signals, Dave, as usual. You're just killing it. We just have to think we got a pipeline between you and me, because that signal is always right up there, but everyone else is doing super good as well. And propagation generally on HF, wow, it's almost like it was when I was a kid in the late 50s. Things are just wide open. And I guess we've got a good cycle, sunspot cycle coming our way. Tom, I'm sorry I missed your debut on the Sunday Net. I did listen. You've got a great signal, even though I know the big antenna is not finding its way back into the sky quite yet. At least I think I know that, but let's get the update. WA6OPE, W6AWO.
Okay, good morning to everybody. Big crowd in here tonight, or today, whatever this is. All the usual suspects and then some. Good morning, Brown. Long time no here. This is WA60B, if I didn't already say so, located in beautiful Richmond in the Bay Area. And yes, the antenna situation, this is the, you could say, emergency expedient antenna, which is now a long sloper, 10 feet high on the other end, whereas it used to be almost 40 feet on the other end. So yeah, the mast is down. Still kind of thinking about what I'm going to do with that mast, but have checked it all out. And I'm going to get the scraper on it. Near the top of the mast was, there's almost like barnacles growing up there. It's really weird. So it's got to be, if I put it back up, it's got to be repainted. And down at the bottom is a lot of dry rot, which I have to replace a couple of 2x4s at the bottom and then repaint the whole thing and then figure out how I'm going to, well, anyway, a whole bunch, long story. That's gonna drag on for a while too. But anyway, I'm back on the air. So anyway, I'm on the usual, of course, the TCM 1944 U.S. Navy, set up here, running about 65 watts or so output, and listening on an RBC. And conditions are, yes, very good. No noise this morning, nice and quiet on the band. And then I thought I heard a sidewinder slithering through the brush, but anyway, yeah, everybody, Bill, yeah, no copy was Bill. Well, I could hear a few words here and there, but that was about it. But everybody else is 2.5, doing very nicely. So we will keep it moving over to Santa Rosa, W6SSP, WA60PG.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I'm scanning the dials here. Yeah, everything looks okay, which is nice. Yeah, very, very good conditions this morning. No noise, which is super, super nice here. And nice, cool, crisp morning. No snow. You guys are probably tired of it. I haven't seen it in years, so kind of neat to hear about. I don't think I'd want to live in it. Anyway, this is Steve, just north of Santa Rosa, using the usual Collins 32V1 transmitter and 75A1 receiver into a dipole about 30 feet up and D104 microphone. And let's see, what else? Let's keep it moving. Go to Brown, W1MZR, W6SSP.
Okay, very good, Steve. Nice signal over here into greater southeast suburban Dixon. In fact, everybody is sounding good. I think Dave is the channel master. That ART-13 is just pounding in here, Dave. And I know you, when you checked in, you were quite strong, but then during your regular transmission, you fell off a bit. So sorry to say that, but everyone else is doing well. Tom, very good to hear you. I'd heard about your antenna woes, but glad that that's on the repair. TCM sounding very nice indeed. And yeah, it's far too long since we've communicated. I thought we might see each other at the air raid, but that was canceled, as you well know, and other things going on at the fort, so I need to catch up with you on that. I'm running the usual that I do for this rig here from Dixon. For this net, it's the GRC 19, and amazingly enough, my random wire antenna is still up through all the storms and other trials and tribulations here. It's a balmy 34 degrees here this morning. No snow in Dixon, although I have seen it, but that was in the last century. And Mike, very good to hear you. That AT7 sounds really good. And I'm sorry that I missed your orchestration of the Friday evening event, CollinsNet. I was in the state, but I wasn't able to participate because I had to work late. That's the way it goes. And Chuck, your ART-13 sounding great. And greetings to Carla, since it's her radio. Kevin, KWS1 sounds very nice here. And Ron, great to hear the TDE. And you must be feeling very good that that's on the air, and it's really doing a very nice job indeed. I now have to activate the TDE that I got last year back east with the AC supply. So I've got it all back together, but I need to ring it out and make sure that everything is correct. In fact, I've been trying to get, I wonder if you have a copy of that nav ship's memo on that. I was trying to get one from Robert Downs, but he just doesn't seem to respond to me. Anyway, Henry, thank you very much for net control sounding good over hand ticket. Back to you. WA for the IBS and the military net from W1NZR.
Okay, Brown, W1NZR, WA7 YBS. Very good on all. 100% copy, Q5. On all signals. Bill was in there, but I don't know. By the time I got him exalted carrier tuned in, he turned it over to Mike, so we didn't get too much of what Bill said. And everybody else is putting in very good signals. Yeah, Dave is pounding in here. Very, very, very good audio. Very punchy. And Mike, unique sounding and strong. So it can't beat that. Everybody else is doing good too. And Tom doing good with the sloper, the low sloper. Yeah. Okay. Yes, it is. Again, yes, it never stops. The winter that never ends. Maybe an inch or so. I'm sure it'll be melted by 10 or 11 this morning. But it's just, it's like incessant. It never stops. So, it's like, 300% of the norm. And temperature this morning was 29, so it's not cold or anything. It just doesn't get very warm either. Daytime temperature is usually in the 40s if we're lucky. And but I don't know. One of these days, it might get to spring. I don't know. I think it's another one of those younger, driest periods. That's one of those esoteric comparisons, if you know what younger, driest is. Anyway, with that, let's see if there's anybody else that wants to check in to the Vintage Military Radio. That'd be number 11. If you want to check in, do it now. Okay, nothing heard. I already rambled on about the weather and stuff, so over to Chuck. K0 DWC, second round. Go ahead, Chuck. WA7 YBS here.
Okay, Henry. Sounding fantastic as usual. And, I'll tell you, everybody's just really doing well. I mean, Bill, Bill would probably be the weakest for sure, but for some reason, I don't know why, because I'm on the ARR7, so I'm not dealing with an R390A, but for some reason I can pick him up. I don't get it. So, sometimes, even though Henry's like a mile and a half down the street from me, sometimes we can have very different conditions between here and there. And I can't explain it, but I'm sure you fellas probably could. But anyway, the important thing is I'm at least hearing Bill and understanding probably 90% of what he's saying, at least now anyway. Mike, AT7 sounds fantastic. I love that constricted carbony sound. That's about as authentic can get, I believe. And that's doing a fantastic job for you. Kevin, the KWS-1 sounds really great. Ron, of course, the TDE sounds fabulous. And Dave, I agree with Henry. The ART-13, that's whatever you got going there. It is punchy sounding. I mean, it sounds really good. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Richard, the Viking 2 sounds fantastic. Tom, the TCM. I agree with Brown. TCM sounds really good. And I know you still haven't gotten your big antenna project done, but the important thing is you're back with us and you're on the air and you're sounding great. And Steve, the 32V1 sounds great. And Brown, your audio on that GRC-19 sounds fantastic to me. that's really nice audio for that rugged a set on that there. So congratulations on that. That's a really nice sounding rig. So anyway, we'll keep it going, and we'll send it back over to Gilroy, to Kevin, WA6JKN. This is K0DWC.
Well, thank you very much, Chuck. I'm just got everything set up here. Hello, radio. Yeah. It's amazing. Ever since I installed that service bulletin number 7, that carrier level is right on it. After each transmission, whereas before, I'd have to make slight adjustments because it would just never return to the same carrier level. Now it's rock solid. It's amazing. All because of detuning L207, it really makes a difference. That push-pull of the oscillator because of low Q really makes a difference. And I'm looking at the drive level. It doesn't take much drive level to be at the right level for an AM here. I've had this thing plugged up on 10 meters, working stations with the X-beam. They get a big kick out of running 800 watts barefoot. You got a transmitter that runs 800 watts barefoot? I get a big kick out of that. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, all the antenna projects. Yeah, I was very lucky, I suppose. We had 30 to 50 mile an hour gust winds here a week or so ago, and all the antennas didn't seem to have a problem with it. The hex beam looked like it was being, it's going through all kinds of weird looking shapes as the wind was blowing really hard, but then it went right back to normal. And of course, the inverted V's that I have, they handle it just fine. I don't think I've ever had an antenna problem. At least I'm thinking back. It's possible, but I don't remember. I don't think I've ever had an antenna problem because of the winds. We did have the tornado touchdown, or was momentarily not too far from here in San Martin or Morgan Hill a bunch of years ago, and it ripped off tiles off my roof. But the antennas were fine. I couldn't believe it. And the other thing I couldn't believe was the insurance company came out here and they replaced the roof. They said it was covered. That sounds like a pun, but not really. They're talking about they covered the replacement of the roof. The agent that came out, the adjuster, he said, they have this new roof. It's called Presidential TL. We'll cover it, but because the roof is so expensive, your deductible will have to go up to about $3,000 or something like that, where it was, I think, $500. And I said, well, why would I want to put something that expensive on the roof? And he said, it's real simple. It's guaranteed for life. So for just about $3,000, I ended up getting this roof that has a warranty for life, workmanship, replacements, the whole 9 yards. So I figured that was well worth it. The antennas were fine. That was the other thing. All right. That was in response to Dave Lowe's on the multi-element Yagi up there in the co-op and everything else. That's always a worry. I remember my father had his tower due to the Santa Ana winds. Those get pretty high wind velocity. Tower, one of the guy lines broke. And once the guy line goes, that tower's coming down. It's almost a total, destruction of the entire antenna system. And that thing was way up there. When it fell over, it landed over the neighbor's property, took out the fence and everything else. I'm just glad it happened at night when people were asleep. And then another time, there was a guy that was he didn't like hearing the KW1 on his TV. This was back in the 60s. And he called up my dad and he said, next time I hear you in my TV, I'm going to come over and I'm going to tear down your antennas. So what he did is he came over with a hacksaw and he cut the base of the high tower vertical. He didn't cut it all the way through, but he cut it enough to weaken it so when the next wind came by, that high tower, high gain vertical fell over and laid across 2 lanes of residential highway, I guess you call it, the roadway there. So, the police department got a report. They came knocking on the front door and says, you got an antenna that's laying across the road blocking traffic. So, TVI can bring trouble. Yeah, that old TVI days, that was really something. So, one of the things I learned about that exercise back then was, did you know tampering with someone's antenna is a federal offense? I didn't know that. Being a federal licensed amateur, anybody that does anything to your radios is a federal offense or can be prosecuted as a federal offense. So, the antenna guy, he didn't realize that even black and white cameras from back in the day is enough to get you arrested, catching you in the act. All right, let's see. I did make, and I put a star next to it, Henry, who I turned it to, and that's Ron. NU6F. Take it away, Ron. WA6JKN.
Okay, good deal, Kevin. Boy, I tell you, the band is really all over the place. You were going from 20 over S9 to just a tad above the noise, so go figure. Oh, I neglected to say I'm also running an afterburner on the TDE. Got it in tune position, loafing along, and driving the Homebrew 4CX 250B amp at 150 watt carrier. And well, let's see, going from one end to the other. Brown, I'm okay on your TDE and the AC supply. Well, yeah, I don't have anything, but for sure Tom does, since he's got the supply. He's going to be horseshoeing into his once he gets the antenna issue solved. And Steve, sounding good where it never snows in Santa Rosa. And Tom, okay on the barnacles on top of the antenna. If that isn't a real Navy radio station. I got barnacles on the antenna. And Richard, sunspot cycle. Yeah, we're loving it all right. Haven't used 10 meters for so long, I forgot where it was, and now just about every day, all kinds of great openings there, and the TDE and the RAL are loving 40 meters CW this week, amongst another couple of DX contacts. Didn't get any Europe this week on the TDE, but Malaysia was coming in pretty good. I've worked him twice this week on the REL and the TDE, and kind of scratch your head sometimes, the bands being as open as they are, and yet at least they're on 40. Very few stations, which is a real plus for the RAL since I got no IF or no selectivity, any QRM nearby, and it's history. But no, here's these DX stations out in the clear, and it's one thing the RAL has is plenty of gain, no selectivity, but oh yeah, there's no lack of gain. And yeah, same with Bill. Yeah, he was gangbusters when at check-in, and then now he's just back down in the mud. So not sure, but conditions, like I say, are all over the place. And Mike, the AT-7 the AR-7 pair, the Royal Canadian Air Force. Why, I think you ought to add the drone of a Lancaster in the background, and boy, it would really sound official. Dave, yeah, I feel your pain on looking up at that tower and the coax from the 6-meter Yagi ready to be dangling. You know, it's like that's the problem, is that you can see it every day, and it's just another one of those things on the list. One of these days I'm going to get to it. Yeah, sounding good, Kevin. Yeah, and the lifetime roof guarantee, I'd say so. That's definitely worth it. I would have gone for that. And the good old days of TVI, oh yeah. That darn De Silva teenager down the street, he's messing up my TV set. We had one neighbor, Bergilda Pinson, that swore up and down that my radio was messing up her new Sears washing machine. So, yeah, those were the days. But they're getting even now. Everything they plug in wipes us out. So, I guess payback comes sooner or later. And Chuck, yeah, Carla's radio sounding good. I guess it's a Lend-Lease program you got with her. She let you use that all the time. And Henry with the Raycal Suite. I wonder how many Raycal radios do you have? Heard mention a couple, but I think you're getting a good collection. Okay, with that, over to Half Moon Bay. N6BCT, NU6F.
NU6F and 6 Bravo, 7. Good morning, guys. Some of these routes are good. It's these right there. We're going to have a problem. Anyway, I have a problem too with my roof, and I had to get a Jones roof at $10,000 of my home insurance, so it did the best of. Anyway, so I don't know what's going on with this stupid thing. I'm going to shut it off. Anyway, I said after that, I've got to switch the microphone on the radio here is working. I'm going to shut that thing off and turn the computer off. That's fine. Anyway, my roof is muted. And so there you go. Anyway, subspace. I'm not going to subspace. I can go over the W7MS and 6 Bravo Charlie Tango.
Well, okay, Bill. I think you said 73s, and I heard the handoff, so good morning to you on that transmission. But something is going on there that's even abnormal for your signal. I'm not quite sure, but maybe others can comment. But
we'll leave it at that. But 7.3s, if in fact you said 7.3s and you're listening out. But W7MS Mike and Reno, great reception from all Clarion equipment lineup as always. And what can I say? Well, I'll comment a little bit on the RCAF radios. I think generally they were assigned to their Marine fleet, which of course would have been Catalina PDYs, maybe some other Marine fleet aircraft. But what I did learn was quite a few of these were used in the Marine fleet ships and small watercraft in the RCAF. So I thought it was some irony that the recruiting poster. You too could be a very testosterone-fired airman in the Royal Canadian Air Force, and then you end up on a support watercraft running an AT-7 or an AR-2 or the associated 12 or 24-volt radios. In fact, doing some reading, I think, too, the RCAF Marine Fleet, in other words, water-based Marine Fleet, non-flying version actually participated in the D-Day invasion, so I thought there was a lot of irony there. Also learned that their primary frequencies were 3 kilocycles and 6 kilohertz, since these are two-channel transmitters. So those were the primary frequencies between the east and west coasts of Canada. So it's interesting to say the least, or to say the most. But yeah, great comments here. Glad to see Chuck's running the AR-7, and I believe the Lend-Lease status was changed to rental. Chuck has been using rental in the past. And Kevin and his roof story. Well, I have roof stories, but we'll save that maybe for another day. But that was largely threatening to sue the builder of the home. But of course, my former wife had worked for the builder, so that was a little touchy there. So we had to encourage the entire phase of that subdivision to. Unfortunately, we had an attorney in the group there, so it worked out rather well. So we could do a good cop, bad cop routine. And Ron, yeah, TDE sounded great. Not noticing such dramatic signal level issues at your receive end as at my receive end, but also we realize the receiver you're using is quite. You have to be a real radio man to operate that. There's no automatic volume control on that puppy for sure. And Dave, yeah, it's been quite a winter. And more comments on that Watt periodic. What can I say? Richard's talking about propagation. Yeah, it's also contest weekend. 20 was a jumping, as was the other higher frequencies for the contest stations. So, irregardless of how you feel, there was a lot to listen to. The transmissions may not have been lengthy, but there was a lot of 5 9s and serial number or contact number quotations being given. And Tom, great to hear you. And someday we'll hear the TDE/AC edition from your station. Looking forward to that. And Steve, got your email. We'll respond. I think everything's covered, and appreciate the specific answers on that. And glad to help out. And great to hear Brown. Yeah, we missed you Friday night, but Friday night we had no idea that we were missing you. So. Full revelations from Dixon, from Brown, but great to hear you, and looking forward to the N7 RCA get together. I have the couch reserved for a second year, and I'll be prepared for that slippery, slidey leather couch as opposed to last year, where it was an interesting nylon sleeping bag on a slick leather couch. Was an interesting sleep experience there at Brad's. But it was great to associate with Brown and the other folks there while we did some whiskey sipping there the night before. But with that, over to Dave. Let's see what the latest is. W6MQI, W7MS.
W7MS, W6NQI. Alrighty, Mike. The latest, well, Not much going on, actually. Let's see. Yeah, the antenna's an ongoing issue around here. Those zip ties I used to attach the feed line after about 20-some years decide to rot away and fall off. That's what the problem now is. But with the feed line hanging down, I don't know how much longer it's going to be attached to the beam. That won't last long. Although I don't use 6 meters anymore too much, but still gonna have to deal with it. But anyway, yeah, Kevin. Uncle Bob did something with that neighbor. Man, that's before you said it was a fellow time, I thought, man, that's terrible. It's got to be like a felony or something for doing, trespassing and messing with somebody's property like that. Well, I tell you, there was probably no love between him and your neighbor after that. Nasty. And I think you said you run a hex beam. That is one. I put one of those up for a guy a few years ago. That's a funny looking antenna. I always thought it looked like a upside down clothesline to me. But I guess they work pretty good. I've never used one, but interesting antenna. And let's see what else. I was going to ask Tom, how you doing on your WinLink? We've been hearing these stories that you drifted over to the dark side, got a computer, and doing some digital stuff. What's with that? Interested in maybe comment, see how far you've gotten with that. And Brown, yeah, that the GRC 19, that is, whatever you've done to the audio on that, I'll concur that with everybody else. It sounds really good. You got nice punchy audio as well. Sounds really good. And talking with a couple of friends who live up there in Valley Springs, we ain't going up there anytime soon. It's quicksand. It's pretty wet up there, so it may be the middle of summer by the time you even think about going up there to get even look at those shelters again. Yeah, projects. Well, I decided to dig out my old Drake gear, and I have a pretty nice set of B-line Drakes here. It has really good copper and all. They're pretty clean. And got the R4B all tuned up. Man, those things got beautiful audio in those. And so I switched over to the T4XB to get it going. Now it's cleaning the rotary switches, and I never really used these rigs. I bought them and they just kind of sat on the shelf. Never really did too much with them. And I noticed one of the rotary switches on the one of the wafers on the rotary switch of the mode selector switch had a big old blowout on it. At one time it arced and blew the wafer. I guess it's the wiper section of the rotary switch. Blew a hole in that, and also took the pin as well with it, the contact pin. So, sheesh, now what, go down to the store and buy one of those. So I got on the Drake radio list, and luckily, a guy up in El Dorado Hills had a Junker R T4XB and was willing to take his switch apart, and he's going to send it off to me on Monday, so that's pretty cool. I'll be able to get that back together. Hopefully I can figure out, I took copious amounts of pictures and drew a schematic of how all the wires went back on, so hopefully I can get it all back together and not blow it up. That would be a bummer. So I'll just take my time, and so I'm looking forward to getting those radios back on the air. And with that, thinking about Drake, another question for Tom. Dutch Steve was wondering too. Have you heard anything on that estate sale with the Drakes? Maybe you can comment on that too. So, with that, over to Richard, W6AWO, W6MQI.
Wow, thank you, Dave. W6MQI, W6AWO, high top ends in the switch. Good signals being maintained. Little echo, Chandler, down there in Half Moon Bay. Other than that, doing great. The OPE mentioned at some point something about a tower. I don't know if that's really, did I hear that right? Not in this section of this net, but I thought at another time. Also, looks like the MRCG net, not net, but meet, is on. So looking forward to that. Hope I can make it this year. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of in the role of the enabler as far as the WinLink business goes. We'll have to ask Tom to explain himself on that one. This will be my 73 transmission. We have another local radio drill taking place for the civilian first responders here in our area. So I'm going to pay attention to that, but I will be listening for a bit. So a gracious good morning to everyone, and it's been a pleasure as always, and really looking forward to next week. So Tom, WA6OPE, W6AWO.
Okay, W6AWO, WA6OPE. Very good. Well, let's see. These vicious rumors about me doing popular, this has got to stop, guys. Yes, well, believe it or not, there's some truth to those vicious rumors. However, there's a learning curve. All the hardware has been acquired. The software has not been acquired yet, but that's all part of the learning curve. And Mr. Dillman there, Mr. W6AWO, Professor Dillman is going to be working with me on the learning curve part of that. And that's a steep curve for somebody like me that's not a computer nerd. Somebody like me that's still living in 1968. It's very nice back here, too, by the way. And let's see, questions. Yes, the Drake stuff. That estate sale, yeah, by golly, it happened. Behind my back. I didn't know it happened until after it happened. And it happened last summer, late. And boy, that was a weird situation, too, because I got in there, Mark, and I got in there early. And then all of a sudden, the widow of the Silent Key, unbeknownst to us, 4 or 5 months later, she died unexpectedly. And then the kids got into the picture, and they had a big estate sale. And a radio club up in the Placerville area got involved and sold out to the bare world. So all that stuff, and a bunch of the Houston stuff showed up at Lincoln, at the Lincoln swap meet. And I saw all this SB line heat kit stuff, and boy, there was a pile of it. Showed up at the Lincoln swap meet, and I asked the guy, I said, hey, did that come from estate sale in Placerville? And he said, yeah, it turned out. Want anything? Oh, thanks. Got plenty. So that's the story on the Drake stuff. I don't know what happened. Somebody snatched it. Is all it was, and I didn't see any of it at the Lincoln swap. And that big estate sale happened about a month before Lincoln, I think, something like that, if memory serves. And on the TDE, my TDE is, man, I'll tell you, I'm so overwhelmed with projects here, it's unbelievable. I haven't done a thing. It's this winter, I know it's kind of wimpy. We Californians are kind of wimpy. We won't work in the garage when it's 50 degrees or 40 degrees. It's not 50 degrees about as low as it gets here, but in the garage, we won't work very long. So I'm kind of waiting for the summer. Things get a little warmer. I've still got that project to get to. There's still a lot of work yet to be done to it. The transmitter itself, the high frequency side or whatever, I think is pretty much ready to go. But putting in the AC power supply and cleaning stuff up and doing that kind of stuff is all that has to be done. And although there's more there that meets the eye. And so that's on the list. LC-19, that's waiting too. It's on the list. way down on the bottom towards there somewhere. And also, let's not forget about the TCZ, Tango Charlie Zebra. That one, that's on the list. And it's looking at me now. Kind of woebegone, but anyway, it's looking at me and whatever else, plus antenna projects and everything else. And here's a question. I've been doing some other things, and I was up in the attic, and I got boxes of manuals in the attic. So I was looking through them, and there was two branches for a Tektronix scope. I think they're all scopes, Tektronix oscilloscope manuals. And these are all, you know, like the 515 and 530 and stuff like that. I think there's stuff anyway, there's two boxes full of Tektronix manuals. I don't know how that happened. I don't remember. I've had them for a long time. They've been up in the attic for at least 20 years. And, okay, so here's the question. Should I take them to the recycling place and dump them there, or should I bring them to is anybody doing that kind of stuff anymore? Is anybody resurrecting old Tektronix scope? And would anybody want those old manuals? I'm also finding duplicates with lots and lots of military manuals on you name it, telephone relay stuff, and all kinds of stuff. So that's the other question. Do I bring it to Minden? Is it worth it? This would be a free pile too, by the way. And does anybody want the stuff, or do I start boxing it up and taking it to the recycling place? There's a place in El Cerrito that, oh man, it's kind of funny. You drive up there in the morning, and there's this little hut, and it's bookshelves, and it's loaded with books and periodicals and magazines of everything you could think of. And there's these people that hang out there, and they're kind of like vultures or wolves. Hungry wolves would be a better description, I think. When you drive up and you open up the top of the truck, it's got a whole bunch of railroad magazines in there. And some guy ran up to me, and he was kind of wild-eyed, kind of frothing at the mouth a little bit, and he said, you know, are you dumping this stuff off? Are you dumping this stuff off? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So he grabbed all this stuff as quick as he could, threw it in his car. And that happens every time. Somebody like him, and there was even a couple of women that were floating over some stuff and somebody else dropped on. So it's pretty funny. These guys patrol this place every day to look at to see what's going to get dropped off. So it's nice to know that they're fighting over this stuff. That's a good sign. So I'll pray it for it. But anyway, so that's what's happening here. Yeah, we're overwhelmed completely, and now we've got this antenna project to deal with and other things. And yes, Brown, it would be nice to catch up, especially regarding Fort MacArthur, et cetera, down there. And boy, that's getting to be I don't know, it's a different world in Southern California. And you know what? It used to be the Bay Area was the capital of the fruits and nuts, but now I would say Los Angeles, Southern California, L.A. mostly, is big time. I think they've taken over. The city of San Francisco is a top contender, but I think L.A. has gotten a little more wacky than San Francisco, even, believe it or not. And after that episode with the owlet at Fort MacArthur and all that, it's just totally weird. Anyway, so, no, that's enough. Over to Steve, W6SSP, WA6OPE.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And, hey, thank you very much for the update. This is W6SSP, by the way. Thank you very much for the update on that estate sale. Yeah, I remember seeing that guy at Lincoln, and boy, he had a pile of stuff. Big pile of heat kit stuff, and sort of interested in that, but the only thing I bought from him was the Collins 32V3, which I kind of regret buying because it was missing all the internal shielding, which is what sets the V3 apart from the V2, but that's another story. So Anyway, very good on that. And Ron, thank you very much for the email and offer for parts for the basket case ART-13. You're the latest in a fairly long list of people that donated parts or sold me parts for it. So it's coming together. It's going to be a long-term project, but it'll be kind of nice to get that thing on the air, and it's pretty darn close to that already. Once I get the bottom panel and that single auto-tune in, it should be fully functional. So that's pretty exciting for as bad as rough as it was when I got it. So other projects coming up this spring are BC312. I'll be taking 2 and hopefully building 1, and then the TBX, looking for cables on that. It's in beautiful shape, but I'm going to either have to cobble together cables or I expect it's going to be cobbled together. Anyway, everybody is sounding just really fantastic today. Wonderful signal. Kevin, your KWS-1 sounds just great. I know Henry has mentioned in the past that some people don't like the audio on A1, but boy, I'll tell you, no problem too. It just sounds fantastic. And Mike, your AT7 also sounds great. Brown, your GRC-19, fantastic too. Everybody's sounding fantastic. As usual, a nice wide range of museum quality equipment, which is just fantastic to listen to all this stuff. Anyway, this week has been no projects. I haven't even turned on a radio all week. It's been one of those weeks where the joys of home ownership. And in fact, there's a shovel with my name on it in the backyard. And the sun's out, it's warming up a little bit. So I'm going to say 73 and see you all next weekend. I'll listen out for a while, but see you all next week. Over to Brown, W1NZR, W6SSP.
Well, very good, Steve. Still putting in a great signal. Actually, everyone is holding up, although propagation's changing a little bit. First of all, thank you all very much for the comments on the audio. Nothing really special with T195 except the clipper has been bypassed. But the real key to it is the Motorola Crystal mic, the Motorola FM Micom circa 1970 microphone. I think that's what really makes it here. And again, speaking of audio, Kevin, thanks for mentioning field change number 7 or service note number 7. Yeah, your audio sounds very good. I mean, it really does. I would have to look on a scope if you hadn't mentioned that it was a KWS-1 with upper sideband and one carrier. So we'll have to check that on mine. I actually have 2 of them back east. Haven't had them on the air in a couple of years, but if they were operational. But I would have to investigate to see if that's in there. And Tom, regarding all those manuals, I think you should bring them to the Minden Swamp, which I am very much looking forward to. And then you can include pencils afterwards if no one takes them. And I doubt that will be the case. There is a complete subset of insanity of people participating still with Tektronix scopes. Of course, like everything else in this and associated electronic hobbies, they are diminishing, but I think they're still there. And the same thing with the oddball military telephone, switchboard, etc. manuals. So bring them up there, and then if nobody touches them, dumpster it. But anyway, very good. Well, it's been a lengthy net. It's really been a pleasure. Also, Richard, you're still listening. Good morning to you. Wonder how things are at KPH. Haven't been up there in far too long. But anyway, Henry, thank you very much for running the whole show. A good day to everyone. I don't think I'll be here next week, but sometime next month, and I'll look forward to that. Always a good pleasure here. I really look forward to it. WA7YBS and the Motorrad Map, West Coast version. This is W1NZR.
Okay, Brown. And stand by a second. Yeah, well, that's as good as it gets. And there we go. Okay, I'm just tweaking and peeking. And okay, well, 73 to Richard. W6AWO, to Steve, W6SSP, and to Brown, W1NZR, and I think Bill signed NU6, or not, what did I cross off Ron for? Oh, well, not Ron, Bill, N6BCT. Ron is still in there. Oh, well. Okay, very good. Oh, yeah, Ron, you mentioned about the Raycals. Yeah, I have a few of them. This one that I'm using, the RA17L Mark III, is the best of the lot. It's a super one. I have two of the C versions, which were the ones that were made in England for North America, primarily in the United States. And the C12 version, RA17C12, that one was used not a lot, but it was used enough in the U.S. military to get a designation from the Signal Corps as the R501/URR. And then I have the very first one that I ever came across, which is an RA117, which is the version that was built in Silver Spring, Maryland. So there's 4 of them sitting around here. Great receivers. They are really very competitive. And I already told you the story about how they came about. And Collins wouldn't let Raycal build any 51J receivers, R388s. And so Raycal had to go out and get a hold of Dr. Trevor Wadley. And the rest is history with Wadley loops. So anyway, let's do the 73 round. No Bill, N6BCT, no Richard, W6AWO, and no Steve, W6SSP, or no Brown, W1NZR. So it'll be Chuck to Kevin, to Ron, to Mike, to Dave, to Tom, back to me. Okay, 73 round, KWC, go ahead. This is WA7YBS.
Okay, fellas. Well, you got a big crowd here, so I'll say my 7-3s, and you guys have a good week ahead, and I'll be net control next week, and we'll see you then. So with that, I will send it over to Kevin, WA6JKN in the group. This is K0DWC. 7-3s, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, let me break in there. I heard Bill. I guess Bill didn't sign. So, Bill, you're back in the round up here. So, Ron, when you get done, turn it to Bill. And, Bill, you turn it to W7MS to Mike. So, Bill's back in the lineup. So, over to you, Kevin, WA6JKN, WA7YBS.
Okay, thank you very much. This WA6JKN, thank you very much for the reports on the audio. Matter of fact, I'm going to crank up the audio a little bit here. Hello, radio, hello, radio. I'm going to look for ALC. There we go. There's some ALC right there. Yeah, that's hitting the audio pretty hard right there. I had the audio turned down a little bit there, but now it's turned up. It's drawing a little bit of ALC, and you might hear a little bit of distortion when that happens. So the trick is to turn it down just a little bit, and every now and then have the ALC go up. You can adjust the distance of the microphone from your mouth, also to prevent the ALC from jumping up. But I use the modulation monitor, the REA modulation monitor. Everybody should have one if you're running AM. I think it's the cleanest way to do it, and I like it because it has 9 clients. Not that makes a big difference, but the idea is if you're operating remote AM, you can also have your modulation monitor come with you, no matter where you are in the world, operating remote, which is one of the capabilities of the REA modulation monitor. Is it does have the remote capability, so that makes it really nice. I usually run that on my laptop when I'm operating remote. Sometimes I'll bring it up on my iPhone, monitor it from there if I'm operating my iPhone remote, the radio remote via the iPhone. Which, by the way, this technology advancement that's been taking place with all these SDR radios, solid state stuff is just amazing. I just ordered the other day a smart ring. Think about that, a smart ring, just like a wedding ring, right? And this will allow me to, in remote operations, be able to have a independent push-to-talk, a remote push-to-talk, and be able to, do things like change frequencies, flip through pages and stuff like that. It's just amazing. And it operates remote, so the ring is Bluetooth connected to my iPhone. My iPhone is connected to my vehicle's communication system, just like you're making a cell phone call. So when you're operating digital mobile, it's completely hands-free operation, and I can operate all the modes, FM, AM, CW, the whole bit. And that's, I'm glad I mentioned CW because the ring, the smart ring, may become a key for sending Morse code. I don't know. I'm going to have to check into that. So anyway, that's pretty cool technology. And of course, Tom was talking about, software, learning the software and whatnot. I learned a long time ago that the only limitation of what you can do with software is left up to the imagination of the programmer. And that was from back in the college days when I was learning about ones and zeros. Machine language, they called it. That was a lot of fun. If everybody would, if you run across an opportunity to read a description and how an arithmetic logic unit works, and how it shifts the bits from left to right, adds and subtracts, to be able to perform functions like multiply, divide, those kinds of things, you will really appreciate what the computer is actually doing, or that arithmetic logic unit. It's fascinating. All right, 73, good night, or good morning to everyone. Have a great Sunday afternoon. Over to Ron, if you're still there, NU6F, WA6JKN.
Okay, good deal. Still good copy on all. The hangar's honors. And Bill, heard you pop back in there like Henry said, so you'll get the 73's input. And Henry, okay, on the RA-17L, the pick of the litter. Okay, I guess that's why I hear you using that one a lot more. And Chuck, well, now that the snow's melting, the sun is out, it's time to get your shovel out there and start mucking around the corral. Good hearing you guys in there, and I'm sure Mike is wondering, what is the cast iron skillet breakfast report from Carla? Don't know. Kevin, okay on all the KWS-1 and ALC. What the heck is ALC? What the heck is software? What the heck is missing one sideband? I don't know. These radios here, they got carrier sidebands, And meters, knobs, the only 0 and 1 is the, no, there isn't. There is nothing labeled 0 and 1 for on-off. It's start and stop, just like Tom's radio for the, oh, let's see, we got an echo here too in the background. Anyhow, it's got, anyhow, I had to turn that off in the background. But Mike, that's interesting on the 3333 and 6666 has the two standard crystals in the AT7. The apocalypse frequency and apocalypse divided by 2. Well, I guess 4 sixes is probably why they picked that instead of just 666.0. I guess they figured that was bad juju. And okay, also on small watercraft using that radio. That's right. When I said Lancaster, I remember when I looked before, I saw the install and it was in that PBY type install that they used it. Dave, okay, that was good news on the Drake R4 receiver switch part that you found. Love it when when you can finally finish up one of those on the bench, and a feeling of accomplishment. And Tom, okay, on the estate sale that got away, and your test equipment manuals. Yeah, you know, it's like Brown said, you know, you need to bring them there, and at least you can cleanse your conscience afterwards. I tried. I made the long trip over to Nevada, and nobody wanted them. So there you go. All right. Well, good deal. 73s to all. And Henry, thanks for riding herd on the net. And with that, over to Half Moon Bay. Okay, I'll listen out. N6BCT in the group, NU6F.
One, three, six, F, and six, water, seven, seven. The reason I grab because I'm looking at that, that is a I've got some things that I send them down, and now I've got it back working right. There is one of them, and practice run, W6MIC at 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'm here at the on the SDR, but I'm looking for a little bit more drill up tightly because the wind overhead doesn't really come through really when the audio comes through for the SDR. So a little bit. Anyway, so that's 10 minutes.
Okay, I heard the handoff. Thank you, Bill. N6BCT and the Sunday Morning Military Net W7MS. Of course, Mike in Reno again. But a few comments here. Yeah, the sun is rising and propagation is fading. Not unusual. And find Dave on the Drake comments. Tom's response on the estate sale. Yeah, that was Fred. Fred and his partner in Lincoln. And Fred was at Loomis last weekend. And Fred's going to be at the N7 RCA get-together with some more stuff. So it'll always be interesting on that. Great, Tom, on the TCZ. You did mention that. You had to mention that. So that's on the in the queue. And I would stand behind Brown's comments, bring them to the swap meet, and I have a strong suspicion if you get to a point where you just want him gone, Curious Mark, he was the Frenchman at Brad's get-together last year and was hanging out with John. And he is a test equipment junkie, and I have a feeling that most of that could be gone in one fell swoop to Curious Mark. And that could be everybody would be happy, and we'd save that from the pickers at the recycling place. I love that story. Worse than the freebie pile at a ham swap meet, or at least the equivalent. That's complete with maybe some near physical altercations over who gets the stuff. So that was a great story. But 7-3 stall, great to hear everybody, and great to hear Brown, and we'll be awaiting his next return to the West Coast. So 7-3 from Reno. Over to you, Dave. W6MQI, W7MS.
And W7MS, W6MQI, and conditions are a-fading. All right, guys. What the hell was I going to say? That's it. I'm sitting here thinking about something, and I forgot what it was as soon as I turned the mic on. Oh, well. Tom, is that WinLink you're going to do? Is that on, excuse me, is that a HF type link, or are you going to be on VHF? I was curious about that. I thought about dabbling in that stuff myself a little bit. I've done some reading on it, but that's as far as I've gone with it, with regards to the WinLink. And what else? I think that's about it. Again, the conditions are fading fast here, so I'll cut it short. So over to you, Tom. Richard has signed, so WA6OPE, W6MQI.
Okay, W6MQI, WA6OPE. Very good. Yeah, conditions, I second the motion. The Nevada stations are just about gone. Fading down and then coming back up and then fading all the way into the noise. So, yeah, the band has gone. They're probably not copying me either. And I'm not supposed to talk about WinLink on this frequency, but anyway, Dave, yes, I'm only interested in high freak. And I really like the idea of email over the radio without any bit of a internet connection, except the gateway station has the internet connection. And anyway, it's very interesting. I've had a demonstration. Mr. Dillman demonstrated, and I've been reading it quite a bit. There's a website, by the way. Look up WinLink something or other on Google, and it'll show up. Pretty extensive, lots of information. But it is pretty interesting. Actually surprised myself that I was interested in it. Modern technology, FT8 and all that kind of stuff doesn't do a thing for me. I can resist modern technology very easily, although for some reason WinLink appealed to me. I like the idea of being able to send email over the radio without benefit of a connection, internet connection, which you could do. You could do it either way. It's pretty versatile, pretty well thought out, but a learning curve for sure, although I'm heading in that direction. Tim's actually been on the air and has sent me a couple of messages, and he did one of the over the radio without benefit of an internet connection, and I got the message, no problem. Of course, I got it through the internet, but and it works great. And for emergency communications, if that should ever arise, and if you have the capability of doing that, it just beats the hell out of everything. For being throughput, for being able to send a lot of messages and a lot of text and all that stuff, and fairly quickly too, as long as there is a gateway station within your range on high freight. There's also a lot of people that are doing it on VHF too, but that doesn't appeal to me. It's high frequency we're getting. So that'll do it. I doubt if Well, we're going to find out. 73, everybody. Talk to you next week. Back to Net Control. YBS, WA6OPE.
Okay, WA6OPE, WA7YBS. Okay, yeah, the band's just about gone. And, yeah, it's, so we will cut it short. Thanks, everybody, for your participation. Vintage Military Radio Net, it's appreciated. Chuck will be net control next week, and we hope to hear everybody back. Same time, same frequency, different NCO. With that, everybody have a good week coming up. 73, this is WA7YBS, closing Vintage Military Radio Net and signing off.